Hey, how's it going? Today is 25th of October, Friday, and we're gonna be taking a look at the market, what kind of opportunities we can find. In today's video, briefly, we will be taking a look at what's happening, not necessarily just sneaky. Well, there's a lot of things happening, and in particular, board games. So we can take a look at, but perhaps when it comes to war games and something that's happening in UK, perhaps we can review other governments and it's something perhaps that's happening across Europe that perhaps might be more interesting topics to cover, as well as we will try to engage with different governments when it comes to solving some of these problems. If it's a very simple process, if government says that they have a problem, they would create process in order to solve this problem. It's very easy. So then publishing some of those articles the would be published and funded by taxpayers. Perhaps they should consider creating opportunities of how to engage with organizations when it comes to solving some of these problems, right? But anyway, let's take a look at some of these articles. I haven't read it. I had reviewed quite a bit of those, and let's begin. Uh, there was an article published by some of the UK's press, but I thought I'll take a look at perhaps from different sources that would publish the same topic. That would be bullying and harassment complaints surge in UK's financial sector. And there was a report, and people perhaps very intense as of now, as well as financial conduct authorities looking to resolve some of those issues. Then it comes to perhaps sourcing finances, a lot of financial transactions, and overall financial markets can be under a lot of pressure right now. Let's progress. When it comes to opportunities, I thought I'll touch on it. That would be ACMD advice on reform on hemp license fee. So that would offer different opportunities in the future. But it depends, right? Building new markets is something that perhaps not that popular as of now, where it might offer a lot of opportunities, business opportunities, right? So I'll touch on it, right? As well as the entire subject might be very stigmatized. So that's about how much attention we can put as of now on this subject, right? And let's progress. In this video, we will try to take a look at some of the opportunities, in particular when it comes to autonomous vehicles, as well as we can briefly take a look at some of the success stories after the Chinese self-driving firm relied noticed $4.2 billion valuation in United States initial public offering. So that might be important, as well as they might have some operations in other countries as well. So that would be potentially vehicles driving themselves, since we were taking a look at previously where some of these companies looking to hire a lot of lorry drivers, bus drivers, heavy equipment drivers, all those kind of things. There are some companies who are looking for autonomous solutions, right? And it's something that we would be taking a look at in just a second, right? In the rest of this video, we're going to be taking a look at NATO defense alliance, as well as Lithuania, and that will be what the state of Lithuania's military wargaming graphs for answers, right? So there might be a lot of governments currently carrying out wargaming exercises, right? Including Lithuania. A wargaming study published on Thursday revealed that Lithuania could hold out against Russian military conflict for 10 days until NATO reinforcements arrive. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Well, this part debatable. What part is not debatable is spending, military spending. This part is not debatable, right? However, the country will first need to invest at least 10 billion euros over the next 4 years. So that's a part that's not debatable. Military spending, and who will be spending this money and where this money will be spent. So when I'm saying that these articles should be structured in a different way, as well as people should do more, that would be engagement opportunities and how businesses would be able to build some of the hardware for themselves, how to do it. Otherwise, those 10 billion would be spent to some of these companies in the United States. Statistically speaking, most of these finances, large percentage, more than half, about 70%, would end up in the United States. So that's not debatable, and that's a big problem. And authors of this article do not understand what they're doing, by the way, where they should propose solutions, and they might invite a couple of advisors who would advise to buy this and that equipment from United States. I haven't read it. I believe article is written in a very bad way, where they would promote some of these companies and purchase equipment from United States, which is a terrible idea. And we'll touch on that in just a second, right? Again, just coming back to the same point that the borrowing for military spending is almost a fact next year, says Lithuanian Minister of Defense. So that would be not only that that would be projected 10 billion of expenditure. They not necessarily would spend their own money, so they would borrow money to spend on equipment that would be manufactured somewhere else. So it's just things are just getting worse and worse every step of the way. How to reach out to this person is something I have done already, and everyone's too busy listening to sales presentations from U.S. companies. They don't have time. They don't have time to organize some of these competitions and build some of that equipment themselves. We won't gonna delve deeper into this article. We're gonna be focusing more on the solutions in just a second, right? Potential equipment that anyone can build, perhaps over time, not overnight, but that would be just an examples of what they should be looking for, since they're already spending a lot of all kind of equipment to support German companies. Perhaps they should consider share license agreements on different processes or different contracts, how they can manufacture that equipment themselves. But some people are smarter, some people perhaps a little bit slower, and we need to pick up the pace with the slowest person in the room. And sometimes happens that slowest person in the room is one who's looking to spend 10 billion. So that was just an example of some of the platforms, right? And that would be we can take a look at a handful of examples of what kind of platforms they should consider building themselves, not sending capital overseas, right? Let's just we can take a look at 4 or 5 different platforms. Perhaps other companies that are already doing a lot, and would be perhaps 4 or 5 different examples, right? From there, let's progress and let's take a look at next tickets on sales. What government is looking to spend money on, right? We can take a look at next article that would be can hinge defense on tanks, right? So potentially the Lithuanian Minister of Defense calls for focus on air defense as well, right? As well as they might be interested in purchasing a lot of tanks. So I thought we can take a look at some of those platforms, how they would be able to begin building some of those platforms themselves, not necessarily just tanks, I guess, but even the low barrier to entry, all these kind of things. Well, I haven't read this article, perhaps that might be important information. But then they take a look at air defense again, how much it would cost to fire one rocket, how much it would cost. So there's a there's some companies who build a lot of hardware, and now those companies looking to sell that hardware. So the way how this article has been written is such a terrible idea, right? Where air defense and tanks might be important, there's completely new equipment and no one's discussing that equipment. If some of those governments are playing war games, perhaps they should assess what kind of equipment they should have, or perhaps be interested in manufacturing themselves and selling that equipment after it's been manufactured to other governments. Way better approach compared to your current approach and what information has been presented. Since information has been presented is terrible, perhaps there's some more to it. But anyway, when it comes to Lithuania's air defense, after Lithuania reaches air defense rotation deal with 3 countries. So maybe when it comes to air defenses, they might have some resources available, since that would be a critical infrastructure, bridges, all these kind of things, electric, water companies, all these kind of things will be very important. Air defense is important, but perhaps what again that kind of platform you can attach some of that air defense to, as well as air defense can have multiple layers, 1 layer, 2 layer, layer 1 is something that other systems have, layer perhaps 4 different layers, and one of those layers can be attached to a platform. It's something that we were taking a look at in this video, and how those air defenses would be able to move would be a way better approach compared to copy some other systems that would cost, from what we understand, 10 billion. So I don't know. So perhaps put together, hire perhaps better people with that 1 billion, hire a group of better people who put together better projects. As of now, it's terrible. Let's close on that. It's Friday anyway. Thanks for watching. See you next one.